Willkommen, die Kinder zu spielen.
Now, that, I apologize to everyone, that is a Google AI. Rough translation is welcome to play the kids. So anyone who actually speaks German, I apologize. If you're wondering why I started with that, I highly recommend that you go and listen to the USL show episode. It was titled this.
Teilnahme Fußballverein.
And it was posted on May 2nd. And if you go and listen to that episode, you'll know why I've been messing with that to start the show. Anywho, welcome to Play the Kids in English this time. I am Kevin McCamish, and with me, of course, as always, is Mr. Josh Duder. How's it going, Josh?
Sehr gut.
So, like I said, if you guys go out and go to the uslshow.com, listen to the episode posted May 2nd. That second part, the Teilnahme Fußballverein, roughly translates attendance football club, and many fans in Cincinnati hate me now. It was lots of fun. Anyway, back to our own show. Play the Kids. You can catch us on playthekids.com. Hopefully that's where you're listening to us. And if you want stickers, DM either myself at PTK Podcast or at Josh Duder. We got lots of stickers to give out. Quick news rundown. Only one more episode before FC St. Pauli come to town. So go back and listen to episode 4 for lots of information on how to get tickets in the away section if you want to sit with the St. Pauli supporters. We are hoping, fingers crossed, that our next episode might be less T2 and a lot of FC St. Pauli. Kind of hoping we can do a joint podcast with Fell in Love with a Girl podcast. Right. It's an FC St. Pauli fan podcast. If you haven't listened to it and you are an FC St. Pauli supporter, that's a must add.
Yeah, I've confirmed that they are participatory in this event. They're going to give me 3 dates that work for them, and we can pick from the 3 dates that work for us. And I'm trying to get author Nick Davidson of Pirates, Punks, and Politics to join in on the conversation. So we should have Fell in Love with a Girl podcast and author Nick Davidson talking about culture, history, and relevance of FC St. Pauli to Portland.
Awesome. So that sounds great. So maybe look for our next episode. It'll be out 2 Fridays from now. Well, we're recording Thursday night, but 2 Fridays from now, from when this one releases, that'll be out, whether it is an episode about T2 or a straight up St. Pauli remix episode. It'll be tons of fun no matter what. Another thing I wanted to say was that apparently this season, 2018, we have more than doubled our listeners from 2017. Even from the very first episode back in January this year. So I'd very much like to say thank you to, yes, this is true, the hundreds of you that actually listen. I'm blown away. Josh is blown away. We will absolutely keep up the amazing work. To hit triple digits, when I saw that, I was like, that's pretty awesome. So again,
Russian bots, Kevin. It's just Russian bots.
Well, I'll take it. We don't support Russia, so whatever. But anyway, to all the real people that listen, all the 100 and some odd of you out there, really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Today we're going to be talking about T2's loss at home to Reno, and then giving the conference leaders, previously undefeated Sacramento, their first loss of the season at Providence Park. And T2 has already 4 wins, 13 points across 8 games. So not only is that more than 217's entire total, almost the same amount of points we had in the entire season. 13 points through 8 matches is the best start for T2 in a season in their short history. So 1.625 points per game. If you average that over 32 matches, that's going to be 52 points at the end of the season. If this were 2015, 2016, that's good for first or second place in the West. With 32 games now, though, in 2017, it would have been middle of the playoff spots, which either means the last home seed or the first away seed. Either way, bottom line is if they keep it up, we could very well be talking T2 hitting a playoff spot. But we must control ourselves. It's only been 8 games. We still have 24 more to go. But this certainly is not the T2 of yesteryear and seasons past. So I think it's probably fair to get a little bit excited about this team. Another little interesting kind of thing I wanted to point out, every single season 15, 16, 17, now 18. T2 has always won their 6th game of the season. That was something I had mentioned before. And then I had said that, we've only gotten a single draw in the 7th match. Well, 7th match was against Reno, and we lost. And then in the 8th match of previous seasons, we've actually done very well, and we got a win. Mm. So it's interesting to kind of see like the historical context of how we've won every single 6th game of the season, and then we've struggled in the 7th. We've done successful in the 8th, and we've also struggled in the 9th episode. Episode. Oh my God, I'm thinking podcast. The 9th game of the season. So coming up at the 9th match, we have an away trip to St. Louis. It's going to be on short rest. St. Louis is a stingy team. They're very solidly able to pull out 1-0 wins. So I think any kind of result we get, if it's a draw or a win, will be ecstatic. So we'll have to see how that goes. Any quick T2 related stats or points of information you'd like to bring up real quick?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was interesting that you mentioned that they typically drawn in their 7th match, and they really almost did draw in their 7th match, which was at Merlot, and then their 8th match was at Providence Park. So T2 is continuing to split the season between the 2 home venues. Results may vary between the 2. So at the end of the year, it'd be interesting to see. T2 came out of this now after those 2 matches. They're 4th place in the West, as you said, 13 points. We don't want to get too excited about that. But when I go and I kind of look at some of the statistics from the last 2 matches, Reno versus Reno, T2 had 49% possession, 54% of the duels success, 62% of aerial success. And then versus Sac Republic, I mean, a little bit lower of a number, but still riding around the same, splitting the difference here, 45% possession, 50% duels, and 46% in aerial duels, which is, I think that's a big drop off from aerial duels in the previous match. But you can also see those goals by Jadama in the 38th minute.
Well, for Sacramento?
Yeah.
Jadama scored in the 38th minute, I believe.
Off a header, and then previous match, whose goal was it?
Arboleda. Yes.
Arboleda. He picked. Yeah, like I said, he picked their pocket and sort of like had a great finish. But who was it? Maybe it was Espria's goal. Was God? What was that off? That was off a crazy center, wasn't it? So are you going to break it before I get too deep into this? You're breaking these down, or
yeah, we'll get into them a little bit. I mean, there's lots of room to talk about lots of stuff, but
okay,
yeah, we'll get into kind of let's go ahead and go into Reno then. So okay. T2 lost 2-1 at home at Merlot of all places to Reno. Unfortunately, we gave that poor team their first win of the season. They were struggling for points up until that point, and about the 75th minute, we just kind of, I don't like to use the term lost our legs, because we were pretty dominant throughout most of that match. Part of it is, yes, we lost our legs because it's a really short turnaround. Part of it is probably more that, they're a young team, and we've seen in the past that T2 will lose focus for portions of a match. 5 minutes against Seattle in the season opener, the first 30 some odd minutes against Salt Lake City. You go back to the win at Oklahoma City. That's the most comprehensive game that they've played. Although now they actually did a very good one by Sacramento, but we're not there yet. So it's kind of like T2 lost a little bit of their legs, but lost focus. Reno was able to take advantage. They got the equalizer in the 75th minute, and then they got the game winner in the 89th minute. The Ding Dong, who scored both goals, made player of the week. I didn't vote for him, but what you're going to do. Yeah. So Arboleda opened the scoring, bagged his 3rd goal of the season to stand alone as the goal leader for T2. That was a pretty fantastic goal. He sniped a back pass. I like the word snipe instead of intercept, because he was really just he used his speed and just took that clean off right really like right in front of the defender and then juked him. And then,
that finish, that finish.
Oh, the finish was fantastic. I mean, the keeper is just like, uh-oh, he's got the ball. And then the next thing you know is the ball's in the back of the net.
Yeah, that's you're looking at Arboleda going, okay, that's an indication. It wasn't like, okay, he took advantage of it and the goalie, missed. That was a top quality goal. And that's kind of a sign that Arboleda, hey, you want to ask me at the end of the year, who we might be expecting to make that jump. He's top of my list right now.
He is. I absolutely 100% agree, because this is a goal that Arboleda would not have scored last year. Or, was he here in 2016? I don't know. But it's not a goal he would have scored in the past. He's now showing the ability to score these goals, to take these opportunities. T2's playing a lot of the game through him. A lot of the attack is going through him. And for good reason. I mean, even though it's making them a little bit one-sided, kind of a one-trick pony type affair, he's still showing to be good enough that that's not going to stop him. And that's kind of the thing where you look at and be like, all right, so USL can't stop him when he's the only thing we got going. That's when you're starting to make that jump to MLS level. So he's on a first-team contract, loaned down. I agree with you. I'm in the same spot. He's at the top of my list of players who's going to probably make that jump and start earning first-team minutes, perhaps this season. We'll see. For most of the game with Reno, it was a pretty even affair. I think T2 were much better on and off the ball. Reno, being the affiliate of San Jose, they kind of play their tactics. They play pretty rough.
Good.
They fouled just as much as they possibly could. Disrupt T2. It was pretty ugly. T2 were trying to play pretty soccer, and Reno were like, oh no, we're going to drag you down in the mud, and it's going to be pretty awful. So they fouled like a lot, but they weren't bad fouls. Some of them, like, probably should have got on yellow card just for persistent infringement, but nothing that really warranted like a straight yellow for different fouls. So they were fouling a lot, but it was minor and it was just enough to stop the play, just enough to disrupt, which means they've been practicing that because they were very skillful in their fouls and disruption tactics, which of course makes me think San Jose, which of course they're the affiliate of, and what are you going to do? So that I wasn't very pleased with that. And like I said earlier, T2 lost their legs at the end of the match. A little bit of focus. They needed to hold on for a win. Reno scored that equalizer, then threw the kitchen sink at T2 and got that game winner in the 89th minute. And it was pretty frustrating. Given how T2 have played this season, this was an actually frustrating loss. Like, hey, this is something that shouldn't have happened. T2 deserved something more out of this match. It was pretty rough. I mean, when Reno getting their first win, they used that momentum. They got a second win at home versus OKC Energy, who seem to be falling apart right now. And their most recent result was a 0-0 draw at Rio Grande Valley. So, I guess it was nice of us to help them out, but I think they're still behind us on the table. And like I said, their fans, if you want to talk about annoying, if the fouling and the roughness wasn't annoying enough, their fans were. Someone let them bring in drums, and God, they were loud and annoying. And I don't know. It's frustrating. But yeah, so that was Reno, a 2-1 loss at Merlot. Frustrating. T2 should have gotten something better. But despite that, they came back at Providence Park and won 2-0. Now, they had a week off, which this is the thing that pisses me off about USL scheduling. So you have a 2-game week, followed by a week off, followed by another 2-game week. That's ridiculous.
It's really poor scheduling. I don't get the point of it. It doesn't make any sense.
So, I mean, I don't know how that result would have turned out had T2 not played just 2 or 3 nights before. But you look at Sacramento, who played 2 or 3 nights before they played us, and us having like a week, a little over a week of rest. Then look, we kind of won 2-0. So, anything real quick about Reno before we go dig into?
Zambrano's banger off the crossbar in the 18th minute. That was really exciting. And as you said, just kind of broke down. It was about the 75th minute. All of a sudden, it became a mess. I mean, from kind of dominating the game to all of a sudden, it just kind of seemed like Reno it was inevitable they were going to score one, and it could have been left to that draw, and then they gave up the one more in the 89th minute. I would say also it was exciting to see Brent Richards and Seth Kasipple.
Yeah.
Seth Kasipple.
I
I never got it right. Anyway, good for them. I'm glad. Who cares? Yeah, I'm glad they're still playing anyway. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
So, yeah. I mean, I kind of look at almost like this loss and how we kind of falter at the end. It's like, man, we didn't have Lamar Batista. The kid is like he's. I mean, it probably has nothing to do with the fact he was suspended, but it's like, well, maybe it had something to do with him. I don't know. Like I'm really high on Lamar Batista, especially as an outside back right now. So I kind of like look back and I'm kind of like rejudging the result based on that. So it's all like that's a crappy opinion because of how I'm judging it. But it's just a little hot take there. So
no, that's a good segue because I had a question about that. As we go into the Sacramento game. Yeah, so he's outside back now.
Yeah, playing as a left back. I mean, whether it's an experiment or not, it's really working. And he was very involved in the T2's win, 2-0 over the Western Conference leaders and previously undefeated Sacramento Republic. So we know Reno took their first win off us, and we handed Sacramento their first loss this season. That's a little crazy like that, huh? With USL. MLS 2 sides can be inconsistent like that, obviously, but hey, we've got a 4-1-3 record. We've got more results than we don't this season, so you gotta love where this club's headed, consistency or not. I mean, I think a big part of that is that we have a consistent backline. I mean, bringing in Phillips and Mulligan, I think have really solidified that backline, and it really helps when you have a good defense to then attack, bring the offense, and you start getting those good results. One person you'll probably have missed against Sacramento Republic was Jeremy Ababasi. He's hurt, not bad, supposedly, but it wasn't enough to keep him out of the 18. So if you thought, like I did, that maybe he would make the 18 for the trip to San Jose, we'd all be wrong. Merritt still follows me on Twitter. He tweeted directly to me, and he's like, no, Ababasi got hurt. It's not bad at all, but he will not be going to San Jose. He's just sitting the game out. And basically in one single tweet, I got more injury information regarding T2 than I have from others within the club that are supposed to give me that information in all seasons combined.
Well, it seems with a Mr. Somebody leaving their podcast that you might have unabated access to the boss there.
Yeah. I'll just start tweeting him every week. Hey, so who's hurt now? Huh?
Exactly. Well, the worst that can happen is he blocks you.
Oh yes, the worst. Just add me to the list of people he's probably blocked, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
No, it's all fine. But it was pretty funny. I was like, oh, hey, Ababasi's not the 18. Maybe we'll see him in San Jose. Just a random out of the blue guess, and he's like, nope, he's hurt. It's not bad. And I think he followed up with the tweet with like, you should probably improve your sleuthing skills. Almost like that's awesome. Good burn. Like I legitimately laughed. But my guess was completely out of the blue. So if you're listening, Merritt, that's a good one. But I was just guessing. So
I don't know, Kevin. He might have called you out on your Hardy Boy skills there.
Oh, probably.
Got to get on it.
Hey, he's got a Stumptown Footy sticker. He loves us.
Yeah.
So this was a really good win. I did miss the first half, so I missed both goals live. But I went back and rewatched them. Missed the first half because I had to do parenting duty Wednesday night. But the second half was a very good example of how T2 are learning to manage and maintain a lead to see out a result. They were unable to do that against Reno, but they showed that they can do it. Maybe on rest, maybe with additional players who weren't suspended. We don't know. But they are they didn't do it against Reno. They did it against Sacramento. So they're learning to manage and maintain a lead. The more that they get better at that, obviously we're going to get a lot of solid results, and we're going to probably see a lot of wins in the win column. But if you watch the second half, they were learning to manage and maintain a lead. It was very good result, very good of T2 to do that. I was pretty excited, and I think that's actually the best part of this match is really the fact that of course they scored 2 goals, but Sacramento has has the talent and the capability as they're a solid top USL side to come back and just oh, we'll get those 2 goals back and maybe even a third and get all 3 points. So sure, we scored 2 goals and they were both fantastic goals, but all teams are kind of weak defensively at some point, and so we took advantage of that. And then the best part is just that, unlike versus Reno when we dropped all 3 points, we got the lead, 2 quality strikes, and then in the second half managed the game state, held Sacramento back, got a well-deserved all 3 points. So that was super cool. On that first goal, Dyron Espria loaned down, opens up his 2018 T2 account. When I saw our Espria and Arboleda as the wingers, I was like, oh my God, the speed on the wings. This could be really good. It turns out it was. Arboleda himself threatened a number of times in the match, but it was Dyron Espria who scored in the 16th minute, calmly tapping in from close range after Batista, who himself had a fantastic game, whipped in a very quality cross. Espria knocked it down, tapped in, and we're up 1-0. That's a really good, and that's something I think I think I mentioned in the last episode, because we did it in Oklahoma City, we did it in Tulsa, and I think we did it against RGV, even though we dropped 2 goals in the end. But the fullbacks, Mulligan and Batista primarily, but even Lowe and some of the other guys, they are whipping in some really high quality crosses. Eric Williamson is taking some really good corners. That's how we got our second goal. Modu Ujajama doubled the lead in the 38th minute. Williamson, continuing to impress in midfield, showed that he can take great corner kicks, delivering a pinpoint kick to the back post. And Jadama, he was pretty much unmarked. He made a really good run. He headed the ball down with authority, and the keeper just couldn't get to it. It was a really good goal. Mm-hmm. And to go into break up 2-0 is fantastic. Like, you're up 2 goals against the conference leaders who were previously undefeated, and that's fantastic. Now I think Williamson probably deserved himself. He almost got a second assist when he put Arboleda into space behind the defense in second half stoppage time. Unfortunately, Arboleda's shot came off the post. Oh. So I know it was mm-hmm. so close, but that's where Arboleda is still dangerous. I mean, even though Espria was the one that scored, both wingers were dangerous. Eric Williamson is just impressing the hell out of me in midfield. I'm really excited that we picked that kid up.
Yeah.
And just overall, like, T2 just managed the second half well. They still took their chances. Sacramento had a couple things, but it didn't look like anything that was going to really trouble McIntosh, who himself is having a good season. Getting himself, I think, the 3rd shutout for him. Mm-hmm. I think it's his 3rd shutout, the 4th shutout overall. These are off the top of my head. I can double check. But if you think about that, 8 games in, 4 shutouts. The defense is doing so well right now, and that's what you want in your team. If the defense does well and continues to do well all season, then as the attack warms up, and you've seen this like this season already. Aside from the 5 minutes in Seattle and the 30 minutes in Salt Lake City, the defense has done very well. The attack has been warming up. Arboleda is leading the crowd with 3 goals, but Babasi, Williams, Langsdorff are all behind him with 2 goals apiece, and all of those have come in like the past 3, 4, 5 matches. So defense is holding strong, offense is warming up. People can go ahead and take T2 lightly at your own risk at this point. So I mean, yes, a trip to St. Louis might not be on the cards for a result given the short turnaround. But the way this team plays, we have depth. I mean, I'll talk in a few minutes about Marvin Loria making his first start. I'm really impressed. Has lots of attacking depth. We even have some defensive depth. The midfield is fantastic. If these kids can keep their legs under them and keep focused, like they can take on just about anyone in the entire league. It's pretty awesome. It's a very exciting season. So some players that we want to highlight before we get into some other stuff. Lamar Batista, he's the top of my list right now. The left back experiment continues, if that's what it is, experiment. I'm not sure. Either way, it's turned out to be a success. I absolutely love it. He can whip in quality crosses. He does very well to get forward. Being a center back originally, kind of a hybrid center back, outside back, he has very good defensive habits. And so the whole thing kind of makes him like this really awesome outside back. I've seen him play both left and right. but it does seem to be left that he's either he or the coach prefers him on. Batista didn't get credited with the assist on Espria's goal, but it was his cross that made it happen. So sadly, he didn't get it because probably another player touched it before Espria turned it down and tapped it in. But again, he's putting in his quality crosses. Same with Williamson, putting in quality corners, and T2. As I had tweeted out, kind of a joke, hey, T2's learned how to attack on set pieces. Funny, when did that happen? Oh, probably the same time learned how to pass and play as a team.
Hmm.
And it's a joke but I mean, to be honest, if you look at T2 in previous seasons, like it was 11 players that were trying to do things together, and many times, like, God, the passing sucks, is things that I have remember in the previous seasons, the passing was being bad. And this season, it's just like they're clicking, there's chemistry, there's cohesion. There is, like, there's consistency in an inherently inconsistent process with the loans. When you're at home, there's a lot more first-team players they kind of want to get minutes for. But still, like, there's so much more success flowing through this team this season that it's hard to miss. Second player, number 2 on my list, Eric Williamson, continuing to shine in midfield. He was a bright spot throughout a lot of the Reno match, and then he was nearly unplayable against Sacramento. The Williamson-Zambrano pairing is just working out really well, and I want to see more and more and more of that. Number 3, Marvin Loria. He makes this list after his first start of the season against Sacramento. It was been the most minutes I've been able to actually see of him, and I thought he was very dangerous throughout the game. Aggressive, smart. It looked like he was out there to prove something, wanted to earn more minutes. I really was. I think he had a couple chances that came pretty close. Can't remember off the top of my head. But boy, he looked dangerous, and I really want to see more of that. But with him showing up now, that's providing more depth up top. Even with if obviously injured, it's like you can just swing a stick and hit a attacking player that's probably on fire and wants to prove something and can go out there and be dangerous. So it's a tough challenge, I think, for Cameron to pick the lineup. And I'm sure that's exactly how he and everybody above him would prefer it. So some special mentions. Again, Modo Jadama scored his first goal. Foster Langsdorff continues to improve. He's kind of on a Farfan-esque trajectory. He had a rough first couple games, just like Farfan did, but has really started to put it together. And I feel like, he's not a left back, but he's on that similar trajectory where I think if he continues this way, he's going to put it together. He's going to become dangerous. He's going to actually show, hey, I am the second awesomest, homegrown player you guys have signed that's actually from this area, and I think I should get some first team minutes. So, and I think he could do it if he can use another trajectory. Not this season necessarily, but probably next season, which is why I'm calling it the Farfan-esque trajectory. Trademark? I don't know. And then the T2 defense. I just want to talk about Mulligan and Phillips. They've been huge additions. They bring experience and stability to the back line. They're not going to earn first team contracts. I don't think so. I don't think either one of them were brought in to compete for anything with the first team, but they are here to provide experience, stability, and honest to God, I feel so much better when I see them on the starting 11 in the back. So with Mulligan, Phillips, Jadama, and Batista, it's like that is the back four that I am very happy to see, and I always feel so much better about the game coming up when I see them on the team sheet. Any players you want to talk about, or anything you want to talk about? Batista, Williamson, Loria, or any of my special mentions?
I think you hit the nail on the head with those players. I just wanted to, give special mention to William Bijev. It was good to see him again. He didn't score, so
he really bleached his hair.
He did.
Like it was. I'm guessing he's spending too much time in California.
I was about to say that. Coast. Maybe he's a California guy now. Yeah, no, I mean, he looked dangerous at some times. It was nice to see him out there. As long as he didn't score against us, I got no ill will. And then I wanted to give a special, ill will mention to Adam Moffat, who was out there for Sacramento. I think he was a one-time Timber. I think they traded him or something. He's a real POS kind of guy. Ended up playing for the
Yeah.
Sounders. Played down, I think, for Houston. Kind of a real journeyman, kind of a MLS journeyman who ended up.
I almost thought you were going to say jerky man. I'm like, yeah, he is kind of a jerk too, huh?
Yeah. Well, he's always come across as a real kind of a jerk. It's with whatever interviews I might have recalled watching or something on MLS. But nonetheless, yeah, he's a guy that I could probably be happy if something bad happened to him. But
so did you see what happened in the second half? I think it was Batista. Him and Batista came together, Moff and Batista.
Of course.
But there was nothing in it. Like, it wasn't bad from either player. It was just like they come together, try to get the ball. They just touch each other like any other player is going to touch each other like 99.9% of the time on the field. Shoulder to shoulder. No pushing, no shoving, no unless something was said, I don't know. But Batista just kind of stepped back, and then Moffat just like goes and shoves him.
Yeah.
And Moffat, like, after they kind of like break apart, he was all of a sudden lost his cool. And I don't know why. Like, no clue. I mean, he's obviously getting frustrated because we're kicking his team's butt. But it was like Batista was just like, he just put his hands up. He stayed calm, thank God. He still got a yellow for it, which was ridiculous. No, he didn't. Neither player got a yellow. That's right. For some reason, I kept thinking, because, I mean, Batista kind of sometimes he loses his cool. He didn't lose his cool. Deservedly didn't get a card, but neither did Moffat, which is really weird.
Yeah.
The referee, I don't even think really talked to him. Maybe talked to him a little bit, but it was just like nothing happened. And then all of a sudden, Moffat gets pissed off, shoves the player over, not over, but he shoved him hard enough that Batista could have fallen over.
Right.
And then the ref's just like, hey, calm down. You calm him down with a yellow card. I don't care if it's the some odd minute or not, But that's just kind of since we're talking about him, that's the kind of player he is.
Yeah, that's why I don't like him. His whole career, he's always been that guy. Yeah. So, very unlikable character.
So, so we got 2 away games before our next episode. This Saturday, the day after this episode airs, we are traveling to St. Louis. St. Louis being a pretty decent team. Like I said, they are pretty stout defensively. Not one of the most prolific scoring teams, so they're very good at doing the 1-0 wins. We'll see how it goes. I'm hopeful. I'm definitely hopeful. Like I said, T2 is playing very well. We can when we're on task and we're staying focused, we can play against anyone in the league and probably beat them. Only things that were not in our favor, obviously, it's an away trip on short rest. And I think those are going to be the 2 big things. Away on a short trip. They
have a really good atmosphere there too. So St. Louis is really well supported.
Yes, it's very well supported there. One of my co-hosts on the USL show, Phil Grooms, covers St. Louis and lives over there. So that sort of team, it favors the home team. The situation of this favors the home team, and that's fair. Like, if you're a home side, you expect to win. So we'll see how it goes. I'm, like I said, hopeful, but not holding my breath for anything. After that, we then have another away game, having to go back to Cheney Stadium in Tacoma and play S2 away again. That one I am hopeful for. S2, yes, they beat us last time, but again, we absolutely laid waste to them for 85 minutes. If not for just their dumb luck within a 5-minute window at the end of the first half, we probably would have embarrassed them on their home opener. So I want to go back up there. I want revenge, and I want this T2 on a full week's rest, only going to Seattle, to probably go up there and lay waste to them. They've only gotten like 2 or 3 wins, 2 wins maybe. Or their only win could have been against us. I don't really know off the top of my head. I just know that they are not doing as well as T2. They're doing better than their first team, which I guess T2 kind of is too a little bit, although the Timbers are improving. Their first team is not improving, so I love to hear that. But yeah. So it's a game that I think we deserve to win, just based on like how the teams are currently playing. And we can go back up there. The only thing is, like Cheney Stadium is a very good environment. They actually are well supported. They had 6,000 some odd people for their home opener, which was pretty impressive. And unfortunately, I must tip my hat to that. It was a smart move for them to move S2 down to Tacoma. They'll rebrand from S2 in 2019, do something else, to probably name it Tacoma something, and I think that'll just kind of ingratiate them into that South Sound scene more, and maybe get some more support. And that's, the thing is, you look around, like it's hard to kind of find a place to do that with T2 being still within range of Portland. I mean, Salem has the under 23s, and they're doing really well, so I'm not sure you'd want to bump them out and push them further away. But and to be fair, the Timbers are not even remotely looking at any possibility to move T2 around.
No.
I'm pretty confident in that. So anyway, so that'd be Saturday, May 12th. We will release our next episode on Friday, May 18th. There's a game that day. It's at 11 a.m. Yes. And 11 a.m. on a Friday, 11 a.m. Insanity. Friday. Again, USL scheduling is absolute insanity. That's probably not a game meant for your standard fan to go see.
No.
I don't know. I mean, unless they expect people to, like, hey, take a 2 or 3 hour lunch and come down to Providence Park in downtown, which for all I know, people might do. I'm sure it's probably going to be, since it's a Friday, it's 11 a.m. That sounds like it's probably going to be doing something for school kids.
Mm-hmm.
They did like a Providence Health Day last year where they had like 7,000 students in the Portland area come by and watch. And I heard that was a really good game. I obviously can't make it because I'm working. Like probably most everybody has a 40-hour, Monday through Friday type of job that won't be able to make it. I'll probably actually be able to watch online and maybe even tweet. We'll see if my boss is okay with that. But, either way, kind of weird. 11 a.m. Friday, May 18th.
Is it at the PP or is it at the?
Oh yeah. No, it's at Providence Park.
Okay,
for sure. It's at Providence Park. It's versus LA Galaxy 2. I'm sure we can probably beat them. They are doing awful this season. Right after that, though, that's the St. Pauli friendly on May 22nd. And then we've got to bring all that around full circle against Monarchs SLC on Saturday the 26th. So after these 2 road trips, there's a three game home stand, a friendly bookmarked on each end by a league match. So those are the episodes. Those are the episodes we'll be discussing. Sorry, not. Gosh darn it. I'm getting everything's getting mixed up. Podcast, games, episodes, matches. Oh my god. So those are the 2 away games that we will possibly cover very briefly in the next episode, because hopefully we can make something happen with FC St. Pauli. Fell in Love with a Girl podcast, and do stuff like that. And it's also possible that if we do record with them, we might record earlier than we usually do. So maybe it'll even be before the S2 game. We'll see how it is. Either way, if you're liking our podcast, you should probably definitely check out the next one that comes out. And then we'll talk about some home games on the one episode after that. So that's T2. So Josh, while we've got time, PTK6, 4th Division Soccer, get everybody caught up on the lower side soccer in Oregon.
Yeah, I'm going to start with the Timbers under 23s out of Salem. They won their preseason match versus Twin City Union 8-1, I believe. They absolutely they just took them behind the shed and they whooped their ass. Pardon my. Twin City Union, though, is a different level. This was a really good match for the under 23s. They don't have their full squad. No Division 4 side in Oregon is really ready right now. What you have is a lot of college kids, a lot of high school seniors, and they're just kind of pulling it together. So Timbers under 23s, their second preseason match was a friendly. They played against Starfire FC. Starfire is out of Southern Oregon. They beat them 2-0. They're going to come back up to play at John Chambers Field on this Sunday at 5. They play against Washington Premier. Washington Premier beat PTK6 in this same preseason tournament last weekend. And so that means PTK6 will play against that Twin City Union team in Salem on Sunday at 2:30 p.m. It is at John Chambers Field. The tickets are $9 for adults, but if you're there to see PTK6 at 2:30, come to my tent before you go to the Timbers under 23s tent. I am comped free tickets. Up to 25 free PTK6 fans are allowed in. My preseason or my season ticket holders can get in first, but I mean, I only used 12 of the 25 last match. So come on out to Salem, John Chambers Field, out at the Capital FC training complex, and we'll get you in. PTK6 just added Reggie Reyes. He's a forward out of Woodburn High School and Concordia University. They added Gregorio Mount. He's a midfielder. He used to play for AC Tuttocuccio in the Italian Serie C. He went to LIU Brooklyn and played for Pierce County FC last year. That's the team that folded. They added Octavio Hermosillo to the midfield. He's a Clark College, also went to Warner Pacific University, and he's a Portland Timbers Academy player. They brought back Jake Young. He's a defender out of Corbin University and played for Vancouver Victory a couple years ago. And then they brought back Johnny Rodas Hills. This is sort of a big signing. I mean, all the other everyone, has played their part, local boys, local high schools. But this is kind of that guy that he's in the Timbers Academy program. He'll be playing at Oregon State University this coming year, but he was the 2017 6A High School Player of the Year. He's an amazing talent. From what I've read at topdrawersoccer.com, the guy can find the back of the net no matter what's happening. So they're really excited to have him on the roster.
Nice.
PTK6's rival, FC Malouse, FCMP under-19 boys advanced to the Oregon State Cup after beating Eastside FC in penalties. Their first team had a preseason game as well. They beat Tri-Cities Alliance 5-1. Let's see. They added some players as well. Christian Tyron from Concordia, Nick Evans, brother Stephen Evans from Concordia, Patrick Allred from Vancouver Victory. He also played for PTK6 last year. Juan Inzunza from Warner Pacific, and Leighton Thomason, who goes to Pacific University. And last but not least, Lane United out of Eugene Springfield area actually just got off the phone with owner and kind of general operator Dave Gallas just before we got on into our conversation here on the podcast. And so I asked him if were there any points of you wanted me to mention or anything. So they completed their roster on April 21st after those tryouts that we mentioned last podcast. They had their first training as a unit on May 1st, but just before that, they played a preseason match, first Vancouver Victory on April 28th, and they won 4-0. So that's sort of that match was sort of more of a continuation of the tryout, but they had goals by Sean Dorman, Calvin Mitchell, Alex Baker, and then a good old own goal, put one in the back of the net in the 67th. So their next match is a home match. It's a preseason game against Northwest Christian University, and then they play Wednesday, the 5th at 7 p.m. Against Starfire. Their season opener is at TSS FC Rovers at Swangard Stadium on Monday, May 14th at 7:30 p.m. Their home opener is versus Sounders under 23s at the Les Schwab Sports Park down there in Lane County, May 20th at 2 p.m. They're coached by Dave's brother, John Gallus. So sort of a brothers duo, kind of like PTK6 is. So how did they come to be was one of my questions. So I don't know if many of you remember the Eugene Emeralds played at a stadium called Civic Stadium, and there was a kind of a save the stadium effort. But in order to save the stadium, they needed a team to play in it. And Dave sort of said, hey, I could put together a team. Does it have to be baseball? And so, he joined that, and it kind of they set up this pass the hat effort where they all sort of contributed to the effort to bring a team to the stadium. and it caught the attention of some investors. So it was a kind of a community first endeavor, and then then investors started helping out. One of my questions was, is there a political leaning? We see with the Timbers and sort of the Timbers Army, especially, sort of a left-leaning, you might say, left-leaning crowd. Lots of social welfare with the Timbers Army, lots of giving back to the community, a lot of that in mind. He said it isn't so much a political affiliation as much as it's pride and community down there at Lane United. So it's not leaning left and it's not leaning right. There's no real political movement or undercurrent to their fan base, so much as just really a real true love of having a local soccer team. And just, it's so far removed from Portland Timbers that there's no convolution with what team to support. This is your team. And so they have a really great support set up there. He says that division is arguably the best in the West at their level. It's really affordable, but high quality. So lots of really great players come through there that end up at the top division. He gave me a list, but my kids came through the door at the same time I was talking to him, so I didn't get to scribble down some of the names he mentioned. But he said just in the last couple of years, 9 players have come through Lane United, and then they've been drafted into the top 2 divisions of U.S. soccer out of Lane United. So that's a really good return on investment for a $10 ticket at the gate. They're setting up an online ticket system. So just before their season kicks off, you should be able to go on to their website and get a $10 ticket. Kids are $5 at the door or online, and they serve beer, cider, and wine. So that is a breakdown of your 4 Oregon Division 4 teams. And just a side note, we have Vancouver Victory up in Vancouver, Washington. They're 1-1 in their preseason with a win over North Idaho College and a loss to Lane United.
Nice. So there's 5 local soccer teams. I think everybody, if you're in the area, should go out and support always support local soccer. I think that's going to be about it for us from this episode. You should all know where to find us. Of course, my computer continues to freeze up, and I'm not going to be able to read my thing. But anyway, you know where you can find us. Twitter, PTK Podcast. You can find Josh, ptk6. You can find me, Stumptown Footy, and also on the USL show. I myself, at KMcCamishPDX. Josh is at Joshua R. Duder. As always, thanks to our sponsor, Roughneck Scarves, the official scarf supplier of MLS, USL, and US Soccer. Get custom scarves for your group or team at roughneckscarves.com. Also got to thank the Beautiful Game Network, where you can find us, Play the Kids, bgn.fm, or playthekids.com. Very easy. Don't forget to subscribe using the links to iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher via playthekids.com. And, knowing like kind of how many listeners are out there now, I challenge everyone who listens to this show. I challenge you. If you like what we're doing, then I challenge you to share and spread the word. Tell someone else who has no idea that Play the Kids exists. Tell them about us. Get them to listen to an episode and see if they like it.
Yeah.
So if you like what we're doing, that's probably the best way you can support us is just spread the word. I would love to get more listeners. Maybe double what we've got now by the end of the season. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
So like I said, go out, and I challenge you, if you like what we do, go out and tell someone. Tell more than one person, but at least go and tell someone that, hey, I just listened to this podcast called playthekids.com, and it's pretty darn good. You should go listen to it. Check it out.
I mean, along the lines of that challenge, I'd say if you're a lower league soccer fan that we kind of just touch on once in a while, if you're a fan of Lane United, if you're a fan of FCM, Malouse, if you're a PDXFC fan, if you're a Timbers Under 23s fan, or even Vancouver Victory, let me know. Reach out. Tell me, what is it about your club that you love? Tell me what is it about your club that I got wrong? Give me some more information, and I'll definitely get it out there.
Yeah, absolutely. You can reach out to either of us. We actually had I had today someone from England reach out to me concerning inquiring about a academy player whose nationality is English. So that was pretty neat, and we were recommended by Reddit. So R Timbers, to all you people that are out there on Reddit /R Timbers, super great. Thanks that you guys are listening and recommending people, directing them to myself and Play the Kids. I was very happy to help them out with what they were looking for. So one last thing, again, I think BGN.FM shout out of the episode. If you haven't heard Backyard Footy, I highly recommend you go check it out. It's a podcast that gives a behind-the-scenes look at being a professional soccer player. This is hosted by current pro soccer player, and he plays for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, Hugh Roberts. He released his second episode featuring Josef Samuel. Heard some of it. It's, oh my God, it's so good. You have to go listen to it. So shout out to the episode for our BG.FM network, Backyard Footy. Go and check that out. And that'd be it from us. So from myself and from Josh, thank you again so much for your support and for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.
Auf Wiedersehen.